will learn whatever they have to learn professionally, the subject and all those laws, etc. We at the college make sure that all students are exposed to different kinds of people. They might be ambassadors, they might be entrepreneurs, they might be teachers. So they get a flavor of all kind of activity, and all kind of professionals.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Imran Wajid, your host of Legal Legends with Imran Wajid. Over here today, we are with the principal of Kinnaird College and University, one of the most prestigious women and one of the most graceful women I've ever met up till now. Over here, we'll discuss with her as an institution, the facilities and the assistance an institution provides to our children of our nation, and how do they help as an institution, as faculty members, as consultants, and as their mentors in attaining what they have to attain in their fields as academicians, as people of our nation, and as general people in their families and their society.
Kinnaird has been here for more than 100 years, and its mission has always been and still is not only to educate women but also to empower them. And I think education is not necessarily only in the classroom. It's in the ambience of an educational institution, and we have a lot of activities that help them find themselves, really, because I think one of the objectives of education is, apart from, of course, you have to learn all the subject knowledge, but apart from that, it's also a path to self-discovery.
Definitely.
And to find out what are your strengths and what are your weaknesses, and how do you ensure that you become a good person, a good citizen, and eventually, because they are all women, a good mother, and eventually obviously it translates into a good community.
What I've noticed in academic institutions is that unfortunately when people are hiring individuals as faculty members or in a position of administration, what they look for is a person who has a certain level of a degree qualification, rather than looking at the personality or character of that individual. How does Kinnaird College tackle this problem?
Well, you see, obviously we have to look at the degree. We cannot just entirely base it on, just because the applicant is a nice person. But we have a panel of interviewers, and of course we have the subject experts. But basically what I do is I observe other things.
Okay.
I observe how the person enters, their body language, and I ask questions which might not relate to their particular field. So that gives you a little bit of insight into the personality also.
I was surprised to hear that students nowadays, ranging from age 17 till 27 or 28, unfortunately are having a lot of problems on a psychological aspect rather than a physiological aspect. As an institution, as a head of that institution, how do you think that students in general, I'm not talking about Kinnaird College only, and what is the reason they are having this problem, and how a student should tackle this problem nowadays?
Yes, I believe that a lot of students here also, and I'm sure in other places, have a lot of problems. And I think they are sometimes unable to sort of deal with them. And of course they need help. We at the college have a counselor, one, but also I find that there's a lot more consumerism, there's a lot more materialism, and there's a lot more, I don't know, you see, in the earlier generations, there was a lot more interaction between people.
Definitely.
I think that interaction has sort of now manifests itself. There is still interaction, but it's with people that you don't see.
Yes.
It is over the internet or something like that. I find that that probably is the missing link, that interaction with your family, with your friends. Friends perhaps there's still a lot more interaction, but family and different age groups, for example.
Definitely.
You spend time with your younger siblings, you spend time with your parents, with your grandmother, with your grandfather. So you are actually subconsciously probably taking something from
every
all
one of
these interactions. And another thing, I also feel that I mean we don't know really, but I mean we have the mobile phone. I mean, of course, I'm not going to say it's a bad thing, it's a wonderful thing. But we don't even know what effect it is having
Definitely.
on the human species. Only time will tell what havoc it has played with, because it has rays, it has magnetic sort of field. I don't know what else it has. But I'm sure it has some, apart from social, it might have something to do with how the brain works. Somebody has to do a research on that eventually. To find, I mean there is research going on, but eventually, because we are passing through that stage, I suppose we'll find out in another 20 years, 30 years, 40 years.
In a generation or two.
Oh, perhaps a generation. So, I mean, yes, students have, and I also feel that eating habits have a lot to do with your moods. Food is very, very important, and a lot of young people are not eating properly.
Malnutrition.
No, they're just not focusing on the right kind of foods, because I remember there was a young girl, she came up to me and she said, "Ma'am, I can't understand anything in my class." So I said, "Okay, did you have breakfast today?" "No." So I said, "How do you expect to understand anything? Because you don't have that, your level of sugar is probably a little dropped, or so anyway."
And your stomach is growling constantly. Yeah. In your opinion, as a mother and as a head of an institution, what do you think is the most crucial age for a person to actually not only discover himself or herself, but to have an idea what that person actually wants to be in the future? And what would a family and an institution should do to facilitate that individual to learn that?
All educational institutions should help people to think. Our primary and secondary education, unfortunately, does not have that kind of milieu where a student, a child can think. Because you can start thinking and developing very early.
Definitely.
Because you see, sometimes young kids are so smart. But if you stifle that thinking ability or that analyzing ability, because you always tell them, this is it, this is what you must repeat, or this is what you must write, and you dare not differ. I mean, I think that is something that can start very young. But of course, I mean, discovering oneself is also not easy. Sometimes you can spend your entire life and yet not discover yourself, while others can discover themselves very early. But also, I think in discovery there is also the opportunities to, not just the opportunities, the encouragement, let's say, and the opportunities to be able to read. I think our children don't read.
If we ask you about your journey up till now, what were those certain aspects that were around you as an environmental factors and on a personal level that help you be the lady you are right now in a positive manner? And what were the challenges that you had to face that made you work harder to be over here?
Let me be very honest about it, that I did not come across many challenges. I've been fortunate not to have major challenges. But I think my family life, my parents, my mother especially, was a motivational figure. And although she would not sit and tell us, now you must study this or you must study that, but she had that presence, and we looked up to her. And I mean, obviously, I was fortunate to be in Kinnaird, and Kinnaird had its own ambience, etc. I don't know. I mean, I can't sort of pinpoint a particular thing. It was everything, actually. My family, my circumstances, my friends. Because I think friends are also a very important element in growing up, in shaping your character. I have friends that I have continued to see for the past 50 years, and friends that I made in the university.
Oh, this is great.
So, you see, all those things matter.
I have a certain question about, since this program is about lawyers and the institutions that teach law and help lawyers become practicing lawyers or academicians. As a principal of Kinnaird, what do you think is that you are offering that are helping your students not only gather academic knowledge, but rather is helping them to be good professional practicing lawyers in the field during their curricula and after that as well?
I think an important thing in any educational institution is an interaction with the wider spectrum of people. No matter what subject you're studying, you might be doing law, you might be doing biotechnology, you might be doing medicine, but basically all things relate to the human kind. So to understand other human beings, it's going to help you in any field. And that professionalism, I mean, if you're talking about law, obviously they will learn whatever they have to learn professionally, the subject and all those laws, etc. But also along with that, they have to learn also to know about what happens in a human mind, actually. And I think we at the college make sure that all students are exposed to different kinds of people. They might be ambassadors, they might be entrepreneurs, they might be teachers, singers, actors. So they get a flavor of
all of it,
all kind of activity, and all kind of professionals.
As a message, if you would like to give to the families of students who are studying, what would that particular message be? Because as you have seen generations coming and going out of Kinnaird College. And what is that one particular message that will be like universal for people who are about to come in an institution or about to start the university or being a part of any university and Kinnaird including them?
You're talking about a message to the students or to the parents?
Especially their families. Which includes their parents primarily and their brothers and sisters.
I think that one message is that give them the confidence, because that confidence must come from home. Yes, an institution also inculcates confidence, but that has to be
bred at home.
Sort of absolutely also from the house. Believe in them. And I think that also if they're not happy with a particular line, give them the option and the confidence to change their subject. Or to change, they can change it after a year, after 2 years, after 3 years, whatever. But I think that is important, that parents must believe in their children.
If you want to list certain qualities that a mentor should have, because I remember that I have certain teachers since grade 7 that I still go and meet to. And I occasionally go to them and discuss my problems with them still to date. And I request them for their advice. So you being a mother and a student in your life and now in head of an esteemed institution, what do you think those qualities are that a mentor should have? A mentor can be a consultant, a mentor can be a teacher, a mentor can be an administrator or a family member or a spouse. What are those qualities that should be there? And unfortunately, what are the aspects that are stopping people from having those qualities?
I would only list one quality, which is honesty.
Okay.
I think it covers everything. And I mean, a mentor or whoever that you, motivates you is also a human being. But if you're honest, that invariably is a quality which inculcates everything, and it is so important.
If you talk about legends, the first thing that used to come to my mind when I was a student, I was going through class 5 and beyond, used to be first of all the person who actually made this country, helped make this country, or had a vision of making this country. And the people, certain key personalities, including women, who helped those people actually attain this nation. I, as a normal observer of the society, I have realized that women in particular had such high status at that time, and now they have, for one reason or another, backed off a little. I don't see them standing and actually taking things head on, most of them. There are some of them over there, but most of them, I think they're not doing that. Because I'm a teacher, I've seen my students not do that.
There are still women who are at the forefront.
Definitely.
And I think at times, if they are not at the forefront, it's not because they don't want to be at the forefront. So I think there are various probably reasons to it also. But by and large, I find it's very encouraging. A lot of young women are way ahead than men of their age.
Definitely.
They are doing way better in their studies. They are better focused. They are, I think.
Why is that? I always keep
some
on
of them are doing jobs, and they are really very good employees.
Yes.
And I mean, I'm not trying to put men down, but I think credit must be given to the women who
they're good administrators,
who are doing better. I think they're not much has changed, but I think there are probably more women now, so you don't get to see every individual woman. Earlier they were, they were like 4 or 5 women, and they were always there for everyone to see. Now there's such a and so many more avenues for them to be to contribute.
I ask you about to name certain personalities that you hold as legends in your life, and by legend I mean who have inspired you. It can be anything. It can be something like giving something when someone needs in your profession or in your life as general. What would those people be, and who would those people be, and for what particular reason?
You see, there are many people that touch your life. They might not even be people that you know. Sometimes it's like a film, and sometimes scenes, when the scene changes, you just get a glimpse of something that touches you. So you cannot sometimes pinpoint that this person was a motivational factor. Sometimes it's just the milieu. Sometimes it's somebody might do something on the road that inspires you, or something where you've gone to attend a conference, or you in a workshop or something, that one person you might not even know sort of makes you aware of something that motivates you.
The definition of a legend has changed with time. So rather than sticking to certain key personalities who have, let's say, influence over the population, I believe that people, and you have rightly said, people are more influenced by normal acts of kindness rather than looking at people they think can influence them to do good.
True. I mean, of course, there are always people that you look up to, people who have done a lot of work, people who have made a change, but there also, you learn from everyone. There are also a lot of common people who are doing a lot of things, and they don't, it's not advertised, it's not in magazines, promoted, or it's not being promoted in that sense. I find that a lot has to do, what has changed in the contemporary world is that it's almost like show and tell program. You know, you do something small, you want photographs all over, you want you
Appraisal
know
and praise.
applaud for that, and you want but sometimes it's there and you just have to see
Notice it.
Bilkul.
It's very kind of you for your time, and it was definitely a pleasure coming over here and having an interview with you. So I literally hold you in quite high regard,
Thank
and
you
it's
so
it's an
much.
honor because I have not seen women holding many women holding a position of as a head of an institution or an organization, and it feels like a mother is the head of the family. A father is not the head of the family. It's how the mother takes the family at most. And having a lady as a head of an institution is something to be proud of. And I've seen that in you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for having me.